Hey, are you looking to get away from it all? Indictments, lengthy mandatory sentences, that powerful family you wronged? Why not come to Madripoor, where it always looks like it just rained? Madripoor, the small South Asian island built on a dragon's back that has become the room that Logan storms to when he's having a snip with his fellow X-Men. Or when he's just had enough of watching Scott kiss Jean. But Madripoor is so much more than the Princess Bar and a bunch of people pretending a patch is a disguise. And Sam, Bucky, and Zemo's visit to the MCU's hive of scum and villainy echoes a trip made in the comics by Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. We don't really think of the Avengers as the crime-solving kind of group. Generally speaking, when we get to the Avengers, it's time for some punching and kicking, and winging shields off stuff and repulsor blasts and Hulk smashes. But ultimately, when it comes right down to it, even in the superhero game, you can't just wait for a giant water monster to show up in Venice before you leap into action with your strength and stickiness. Sometimes you gotta dig. Chances are, if what you're digging into is shady enough, then the answers you seek are in Madripoor.
What's up with Madripoor?
Captain America had business in Madripoor dating all the way back to 1942, where he first met Wolverine.
You guys talk about it like it's Skull Island.
Thanks to Disney treating properties and studios like Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all, Madripoor has made its way to the MCU now that Fox and those precious mutants have joined the collection. It wasn't a guy who managed to turn mutton chops and the word bub into a tough guy thing that introduced us to the nation state with a dim view of law and order. Our tour guide for our first live-action visit instead was Baron Zemo, who was helping Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes track down the source of a new version of the super soldier serum that has driven so much activity in both the comics and the MCU. Baron Zemo being Baron Zemo, it was as much about finding information as it was playing weird mind games with his reluctant partners, including having Bucky revisit his Winter Soldier side and trying to convert Sam to his anti-super soldier crusade. The trio's time in Madripoor was short but eventful.
I love these.
Some people got beat up in a bar. Some people got beat up at a shipping port. Another scientist took his super soldier formula to the grave, and Sharon Carter gave everyone an update on what she's been up to since she got Sam's wings and Cap's shield back. Turns out, getting really angry that she was left out of that whole all's forgiven post-Thanos forgiveness tour. Or she's under deep cover in Madripoor. Wouldn't be the first time for comic book Sharon Carter in Madripoor. Or she's the power broker. Maybe Mephisto. It's not a Marvel Disney Plus series until someone might be Mephisto, right? Sam and Bucky's buddy Steve had more times in Madripoor than just World War II. During a series of one-on-one team-ups with his Avengers teammates, Steve ended up as Tony Stark's backup on a mission to get a hold of a particular device before even worse people than the ones who already had it got it. Rather than a super soldier serum, Steve and Tony were after the super soldier of hacking tools.
What kind of algorithm? What does it do?
The Harvester protocol is like every movie hacker stored in one convenient handheld kit. Not only can it disrupt any operating system it's in the same room as, it also copies the data before it's corrupted and sends it back to whoever used the Harvester. And just to make it nice and science fiction-y, it's got nanobots that help the process along. If we poked around long enough, there's probably a quantum something in there too. Tony goes in as Tony, selling mechanical murder hornets. 8 years before Murder Hornets became a thing. Tony Stark, always a visionary. Steve goes in undercover to swipe the Harvester only to have it pre-swiped by Batroc the Leaper. Tony at the time was storing his Iron Man suit in his bone marrow because of course he was, so when the virus affected Tony too. Like Sam and Bucky in Madripoor, the woman they're looking for is also playing her own game. In this case, stealing the Harvester, harvesting some tech, and then selling it at a profit to AIM and MODOK. Sadly, the MCU trip through Madripoor was MODOK free.
We have a real problem now.
What does Steve and Tony's trip through Lowtown tell us about what to expect from the former pirate stronghold? Well, not much ultimately. The series is borrowed from Truth Red, White, and Black, including the story of Isaiah Bradley as the hidden super soldier, as well as Sam's run as Captain America. There is a similarity to the All-Star Avengers adventure on a sleeping dragon's back. That's a real thing, by the way. Madripoor is built on the back of a sleeping dragon that the Hand at one point got the big brain idea to wake up. And that's the point of it. Madripoor is more than just a place Wolverine spends his personal days. It's one of the fictional places in the world of Marvel where stories have brought in everyone from Iron Fist to the Fantastic Four. We'll likely see Madripoor a few more times before we even start hearing snicked. You have to imagine that having a Madripoor stamp in your passport somewhere would automatically mean your luggage is going to get that extra level of scrutiny. If anyone is going to end up with a parrot strapped to their legs, it's going to be someone who visited Madripoor.